That's a W.
Well. The Atlanta Falcons, a team that constantly has given me struggle throughout the year. Not understanding, can Penix play? Can he not play? Is this a good defense? Is this a well-coached team? Last night they proved a great deal to kind of where their identity's at. And where they lean strong is where Buffalo happens to lean weak. And that was the biggest difference maker here in the game. Bijan Robinson is one of the best running backs in football right now. He's sliding into that top tier role. We've noticed it all season. We've all been prepping for it. This is the guy that we expected coming out of college, and he's finally hitting his full stride. Phenomenal performance by him. Penix looked good. I'm still not sold on Penix. I don't think it's him. I think he can play, and when you have a starting quarterback that's still young, still getting his feet under him, he's going to have some bad games, and he's had some bad games this season. But he's also had some highs. Like, I think having a receiver like Drake London has really helped him. He has someone that is open, that can run great routes, great hands. Someone he really trusts down the field, and that is, I think, it's so important for a young quarterback to succeed. And then a great running back duo. One's a little more shifty and quick. One's a little more of a bruiser with some speed. So it really is a good combination around him. They didn't get Kyle Pitts involved as much. They had their other two wide receivers that would originally start not play. So we haven't seen. So we still, I don't think, know what this offense is in its entirety, and we don't know where they can go. I don't think so. I don't think they're better than Tampa, and I think Tampa is the lead in that division. And I don't know if this is a playoff team because I don't know. I think with how the NFC is going to shape out, it's going to be really hard to get that 7th seed in the playoffs. I mean, you're going to have a lot of teams fighting for it. I mean, we're about to talk about the Bears, and you can't not talk about them about that. But we'll get there in a moment. But I mainly want to talk about, like I said, the Falcons and Bills right now. Falcons I think the coaching is okay. I think they could make some better coaching decisions. I think their offense is humming really well, but I will say the biggest props I've noticed improvements from last season and seasons before with the Falcons, they have a serious defense now. They knew the Bills on offense, their biggest weakness was the offensive line, which is not at its fullest of form. They're all pretty decent linemen, but this is not a unit that's been together throughout the season so far. It's been a lot of interchanging roles and parts, people moving around. And it really is, you really have seen that was the weakness of this game. Josh Allen had no time. He tried to scramble at times, but he had no pocket to condense in and sit back and sling the ball. He also does not have a trusted receiver. I really could see a trade package being formed before this team moves past the trade deadline to grab a receiver. Philly, A.J. Brown, maybe throw Keon Coleman over there. I like Keon Coleman. I'm a fan of his, but he's had one good game, the rest okay. Elijah Moore isn't a trustworthy target. You got Shakir out there, but he's not a number one. He's not that, and you got outside of that, then James Cook, if he can't get him going, it's really hard to get this offense clicking. Now, on the defensive side for Buffalo, it's rough. The Falcons knew their strength was running the ball and going through Bijan, and that's what they did. He had over 100 total, I think it was like over 150 scrimmage yards. Crazy. He had a phenomenal game. He played very well, and props to the Falcons for the game plan. They knew what the weakness was for the Bills, and they came in and they exposed it. And now this is 2 losses in a row for the Bills. And I'm not saying this is going to be a trend moving forward, but this is definitely something to keep an eye on because this will really put the Patriots in a firm position to battle for the division. For the first time, this team has actually had a real competition, I think, at the top of the division. Dolphins did a few years ago, had them on the heels, but we saw the Dolphins flamed out that season, and the Bills took it when they had no right to take it. But now, this is not good. And this is something that this team needs to address. Now, I don't know if they can fix this defense. I think they got a lot of holes. They might need a really good linebacker to come in, but I just don't see there's a lot of just a plethora of really top quality linebackers out there. Maybe Devin White with the Raiders. He's had a very, very good game on Sunday. You get him kind of for cheap, but who knows if that was just a one-game thing. I think the biggest thing that they need is to get a number one receiver to give Josh Allen his Stephon Diggs back. And I think that's something they really need. They thought Coleman was going to be it. I don't think Coleman's it. You got A.J. Brown out there would be a really good piece to this offense. But I always say outside of that, I don't really see maybe if the Saints want to trade Olave, but I think they want a good receiver in there for a young quarterback. That's an option. When Dalton Kincaid comes back, this offense would definitely have another target. They got Dawson Knox kind of involved, but he's also been he's an older player, so you can't rely on him too heavily. You'll really want your tight end combo back, so Kincaid being out really hurt this team, but they just looked out of sync. In general, this Buffalo team just looked out of sync this game. They were really good on their first drive to start the game, and the first drive coming out of the half, scoring a touchdown on both drives, but they felt like they were sputtering, even when their defense gave them an opportunity. Defense put them in good positions at times to have a chance to win, and Josh Allen threw a bad pick at the end of the game. I mean, he was trying to force things. There wasn't much time left. You would have had to rely on an onside kick and getting the ball back, but still, you can't, in those moments, you have to be, though that's the moment that you need your Superman cape on, Allen. And that was rough. That was a really rough, I think, performance overall for the Bills, especially in back-to-back weeks where they've been really exposed. I could definitely see this team looking for a trade. Well, I think the Falcons, on the flip side, I think sometimes you take away more from a loss than a win. I think it's really hard to take a lot from this win. You know what you're good at. You found your identity. You're going to have a really outstanding defensive line that is going to be a bunch of guys overperforming, and you have a really, really solid corner that can kind of take away the number one target, which is really good. They know they can play really quick on offense. They have a quick receiver that can move in and out of his routes very well, and they have a running back that is going to just make plays. That's what they are. Figure out how good Penix is throughout the season, but you know what you are, and you can put yourself in a position to win 8 or 9 games. Whether you make the playoffs or not, you can call this a successful season if Penix is the guy. And if he's not the guy, then at least you know you have a team where all you need to do, once again, is slot in a quarterback. But let's transition to more so the Commanders and the Bears. Let me start on the positives for the Bears. Let me talk about the Bears because they won the game. Jake Moody, shout out to him. He was cut earlier this season by the Niners for poor kicking performance. Came in, had a very good kicking game, proceeded with the game-winning kick. Amazing. I mean, he came in after the kicker went down. He showed his stuff. It's good. I always like seeing that because it's really hard for kickers when you get in a slump and you start missing. It doesn't always mean you're a bad kicker. It just means something isn't right in the mojo. Kickers, they say kicking is so mental. It's probably one of the most mental positions on the field because if you're on, you're on. If you're not, it's really rough. But he made the kick. If he hasn't earned his starting role here, he will find another kicking job now because of this, and this is excellent. Bears have a lot of targets on offense. I like DJ Moore. DeAndre Swift has really came into his own in this game. Loveland can make plays. Burden, Dunze, you got a lot of guys out here, but I don't think it's like the one thing about the Bears that confuses me is even watching the game, I didn't think there was a standout on offense. I think you have a lot of guys. I think Swift had a really good game, but I didn't see the game-changing aspect on offense. I think the cut and dry, I think what's really the difference of this team from last year to this year is the coaching. I think Ben Johnson works. I think we can establish they've just won 3 games in a row, and I wouldn't say this is the most competent roster. I think it's a lot of young players. They're still getting their footing. I think it's a lot of young on both sides of the ball. And this defense has really felt the sting of how the season started, and they're really trying to get back into form. And they had a really good showing. The Commanders were just not able to run the ball successfully. The Commanders weren't able to get in rhythm on offense like you would like to. They did a really good job containing Jaden Daniels. He made a few runs, but overall they contained him relatively well. You didn't. He wasn't. It was hard for him to go superstar mode, and I think that was a really good game plan. I think overall, though, I think Ben Johnson has really shifted the tides here. This is a team that I still don't know how many wins they're gonna pile together. Not 8, maybe 9 wins. That would be very optimistic. I think 9 wins. If they get to 10, I'd be very impressed. I think the schedule's still not. It's still tough. They still have a very tough division. And overall, I think this is a team that still lacks some discipline. Overall, I think they need to. It's just a young team. It's really hard for a young team to achieve the highest of heights and even overachieve at times when they're still getting everything together and trying to get the wheels in motion. Caleb think looked good. He can make these excellent superstar plays. I think the fundamentals is improving greatly, and that's something that we all can look forward to. But overall, I think Ben Johnson is going to be the reason why Caleb works or not. Because if Ben Johnson can't make him work, then this team isn't going to go anywhere. You need your quarterback. But I think Ben Johnson has proven already that he's up for the job, he's up for the task, and that if it's between him and Caleb, it's going to be him. They're going to choose him. They want to move forward with him. And this is a team that I don't think anyone should be excited to play, but it definitely isn't a team that I would say is threatening at the moment. But they could get real hot. They could be a real threat. And if they decide to make some trades to improve that defense, or maybe, I don't know, maybe bring in another. I don't think they need weapons on offense. I just think they need their young guys to keep developing. And I mean, we see JSN having his breakout this season. That Odunze, I think, is on the heels of having that breakout, but he hasn't put it all together yet. So it's a team that's still building, and it's something that I look forward to throughout the season and probably into next season. As for the Commanders, something I've been on and off the Commanders all year. I say everyone. I think being in Baltimore, I get to being close to DC and all that. We do have a lot of Commanders fans, so I talk to a lot of them on the daily, at work, random places, friends. Like, I just know enough, and they all really felt the same feeling of after last season, was that it was a really good season. They found their quarterback, but they overachieved. I think the overall sentiment is that that going to the NFC Championship, championship game, was far beyond their beliefs. And I was high on them last season. I was one of the few people that kept telling people that I knew, and I was like, hey, this could be a serious team. They got a lot of pieces right. They could do something. And they proceeded to do something really well last year. But then I'm also a guy that thinks they can be very successful this season, but they may have a lot more wins, or about the same wins, or even less wins than last season. I think this team may even be a better team than last season. But this team is going to perform more so how we or they're going to underachieve this season. And it's not that they're underachieving to the standards I think that should be set. They're going to underperform to the standards that have been set by overachieving this season before. Because this team is not a top team in the NFC. They lost to the Bears, and like I said, I just had trouble explaining what the Bears do so well outside of just game plan, coaching, and scheming. I think this team has more presence. They have more veteran presence. They have more experience. The leading receiver in the game between, was it Luke McCaffrey, Chris Moore, Debo, those are the guys right now with Terry out. Those are the guys doing the thing. Luke's really become a really skilled young receiver. He's only in his second year. Debo's been there, though. Debo has the experience. In moments like this, they have to be able to rely on him. They have to be able to center a game plan around him in games like this when they needed an extra juice. They have Chris Moore, who's been around the league. He made some good plays, but he's hard to rely on. This is a team that would look a lot better with Terry back. But I've been saying this, and I'm going to keep saying this. Debo isn't the solution at wide receiver, too. He's a great gadget guy. He's a great possession guy. He's not who he was, but he still has a lot of juice to add an impact. But more as a wide receiver 3, you need a solid 2. And that's something that's going to be hard to get because I don't think it's more. And they've had a revolving door of receivers outside of Terry, and it's just not working out. They have an older tight end, Sanat, their backup tight end, is a really good blocker, but he's not as useful in the pass game. And then you have a revolving door of running backs. I mean, throughout the year, you've used 4 or 5 different running backs in the backfield, and you can't trust. It feels like any of them. You got some guys in their 9th year that you can't put the load on him. He's just too many miles. Then there's guys like Krosky Merritt, who's so young, who you could see as the moment he fumbled, it was in his head. Like the whole game, it was in his head, and that's something that's really hard. You have to be able to trust that player in those spots to get going. I mean, you just all the guys. And still, I'm going to keep hitting the nail on the head. This offensive line did not improve from last year. It's almost the exact same. It doesn't look. It may look different, but it doesn't. It's not performing any different. And that defense is still. I don't think they made significant changes to improve the defense. I think going out and getting players that are past their prime and slotting them in just because a name value isn't going to change your team. Sometimes the guys with not the so prettiest name value is a little younger and can outperform a little bit. You think the Eagles thought Zach Bond, after his special team stint with the Saints, was going to come out and be an all-pro linebacker? No, they didn't see that happening. But they saw that he was younger. He had some fire. It was being able to see a young athletic talent that had the ability to do something greater, not someone that is living off their name recognition. And that's no shot to these Commanders. I think they're playing as they should be expected to play, but not as the expectation the Commanders front office may have had for them, and that is the problem. They set too high expectations for themselves on these players who are just performing as they should at the age and at this stage of their career. The Commanders have a real issue, though, because I think as these games are going on, you're seeing the special of Jaden, but you're not seeing the special of the team around him. He was able to carry this team so well year one because he was a shock to the league. No one ever saw him before. People are seeing him now. People are getting tape on him now. They're realizing his strengths, his weaknesses, and the Bears did a very good job capitalizing on a lot of that stuff. Jaden threw his first interception this season. It was a rough one, but he also, I'm pretty sure I heard, threw his first touchdown of the season. So Jaden has had his ups and downs this season, and he takes way too many hits. He really needs to have some old quarterbacks give him a call, maybe a guy like Alex Smith that says, hey, get down, getting hit sucks. You can get hurt. Seriously. He needs to better protect himself. He was banged up last season for a game. This season he's been banged up for 2 games. Or at least a game, maybe 2. But either way, that's going to get you, if you're the best skill that almost any quarterback can have is availability. They say it. So many people say it is well known. That's been an issue with Joe Burrow. He may not always be available every season. And if that's the case, how good is he? That's something that the Bengals are really going to have to check out. It's something with Tua. I mean, he's held up right last season to this season, but the concussion thing always lingers over the shoulders. Well, every time he gets hit, you're like, is he gonna get up? Or what's gonna happen? Jaden needs to protect himself. He's the franchise quarterback. He has to accept that responsibility that he is the best player on this team, and he is a big reason this team's gonna win. I think their coaching staff is phenomenal. I think the team is going to perform at a really high level. But I think it has its ceiling based on the talent overall on this roster. They have the ability to make a playoff and win a playoff game. But they also have the ability to barely miss the playoffs or make the playoffs and be a one and done. Their range is very thin right now, and they have to figure some things out. Like, I think long term in the season, they're going to have a better year than the Bears. Bears may have got the win this week, but doesn't mean that at the end of the year, the Bears are going to be competing for a division or competing for a playoff spot. The Commanders probably will be. But it's all going to rest on the shoulders of Jaden Daniels. And this coaching staff has to put him in the ability, and this front office has to go out and put this team and pieces around him in the ability to have success. And like I said, to Jaden, specifically to you, you have to put yourself in a position to be there next week and the week after and the week after that. Because this team needs you. Mariota did his thing when he came in, and props to him, but the truth is they need you. They need your skills. They need your youth. They need your just overall leadership. This team is going to only go as far as you go, and we're going to see where that goes. So that was Monday Night Football. It's just going to be a short video, so I'm just going to give you my top 10 teams for the week. First, Let's do. I'm gonna do. Actually, I'm gonna give you my top 10 teams. I'm gonna give you 4 honorable mentions of teams that I really think I considered putting in, but it was hard to put in. So let's start with number 10, uh, the Chargers. This is once again I keep putting them in this, and they may keep dropping, but it's Harbaugh and Herbert. And when teams falling apart, lines falling apart, defense is banged up, defense wasn't doing their job like it's been. It, it's Herbert. They made plays. They put themselves in positions to make plays, and even if it was a game that should not have been close, they were able to pull out the victory because of quarterback and coach, and that is just that's going to keep them on the list as long as they win. Now, if they lose next week, this probably drop them because it's hard to keep a team with this many injuries on this board. It's insane how well they've performed at this point, and it's a team that I think can continue to get better once they get healthy. Number 9, I got the New England Patriots. I thought about putting them higher, but I think the biggest issue with this, I'm still trying to figure out where they've had some low lows, they've had some high highs, but the thing they can ride home on is they found their coach, they found their quarterback. The offense coordinator is great. This defense is performing very well. They have key guys that are stepping up. It's a lot easier for talent to step up when they believe in your quarterback. You're seeing guys like Keyshawn Boutte and Pop Douglas really stepping up and becoming key contributors in this offense, something that they had trouble doing last year under a very poor coaching staff. You're seeing that the players are getting confidence. The quarterback's gained a lot of confidence, and I gave the credit to Josh McDaniels already, and I'm going to keep doing it. I think he's really improved, and he was able to establish that confidence into Drake May and get him ready to go tackle this whole league. I think he's playing at a very high level, and it's something that I think we've all can see he's a hit. Now, where's his ceiling? We're going to figure it out. I think the season he's going to have some tough tests this week, but already beating a divisional opponent in Buffalo Bills, and now getting a chance to possibly sit at the top of the AFC East, you got to put them at 9. And number 8, I got the Packers. I put the Packers over the Patriots because they're a team that's been together a little longer, have a little more chemistry. They know how to win. I think even close games, big leads, they do know how to win. They're a team that has kind of figured that out now. It's something I think they struggled with in previous seasons, being such a young team. They're finally, I think, figuring out how to win. How good are they? We're trying to gauge that. I think they have a lot of good talent. The Golden has really stepped up in the last 2 weeks. Josh Jacobs has really been balling out. Jordan Love looks incredible. I think he could look better, but also I think from his progression, each season he's really showing the type of quarterback he is and the type of leader he is, and this defense is playing very well. Now, they aren't a perfect team. I think they're a team that is still young and still trying to figure out what level they see themselves at, but they're figuring out how to win consistently, and that is something that's going to take them far. And after the Lions losing to the Chiefs, this really gives the Packers, once again, a firm chance to win the NFC North, which is, I think, very important going into the playoffs. You're going to want to win that division because that very much could be battling for a number 1 seed. So, Packers at 8. I got the Steelers at 7. As a Ravens fan, it's hard to even put the Steelers on here, but Rodgers is playing really well. This offense looks more competent than it has. This defense is finally clicking a bit. It just overall, I think this team, it's a tough. It's a tough team to play. Tomlin's a really good coach. You know they're going to win games. Yes, I think they have been beating up on lesser competition, and how the season's going to go and progress is going to really determine where we can rank them. I really want to see how the Ravens start performing against them. This is a matchup I really want to see us play. I think it's going to be a testament to the rest of our season and who will win the North. So, it really is just, I don't know. I think they're a really good team. I think they're an average team. That's why I got them at more of that middle of the pack of the top 10. I think the teams above them could beat them in a matchup, but I also think any team in the 10 they could beat as well. I think they have the abilities and they're playing to their strengths, and sometimes you may not play the way you want to play, but if you're a team leaning into your strengths, you have the ability to pull out victories that other teams that don't know how to win just aren't going to win. So Steelers at 7, I got the Bills at 6. I know they have had 2 tough losses. I wanted to leave them off, but when you have a quarterback like Josh Allen playing at a high level, you have a really great running back. You have a good, consistent coaching staff, and you're still what now 4-2. So you're still a good team with a good record. This defense is suspect, and they need to fix this defense. And they're going to keep their chance of dropping on this list and to dropping off is very likely with how this defense is performing if they don't strengthen that up and then get this offense kind of rolling on a more consistent basis. But overall, I still think when push comes to shove, this is going to be a team making the playoffs at the end of the season. It's going to be a very tough team to battle against, and I don't think anybody should want to play the Bills, no matter how this defense looks. You should not want to play the Bills. This is a team that if they can turn it on and get it going, they're going to be really hard to stop. But after 2 back-to-back losses, and I would say 2 underwhelming performances, it's landed them at 6. But at 5, I got the Colts. Just got to give them their credit. They top 5, give them their credit. They're winning. I think they've come down to earth a little bit. They're not as spectacular as they were, and I think they are. This is a division that I think they're better than the Jaguars, but Jaguars aren't going to go out down without a fight. And I think seeing where the Texans are going to go is intriguing with them having a really stout defense. And if they can really get this offense clicking, this division could go from, man, Colts are running away with it, or in 3, 4, 5 weeks, be a really, really close race. But as of right now, with the Colts firmly in the lead of that division and firmly looking like the best team in that division and one of the best teams in the AFC, I got to put them in the top 5. I want to give them their respect. And once again, Jonathan Taylor's playing like Offensive Player of the Year. I'll give him his flowers. He is helping this team run so efficiently. And credit to the defense and the coaching staff. And not to mention Indiana Jones, who's killing it. So Colts at 5. I got the Seahawks at 4. I've been on this about the Seahawks all season. Before in the offseason, I talked, my first episode, I said the Seahawks were going to make the playoffs. I was heavy on this. I had them winning their division. I think they are even better than I predicted. I've had them at 10 wins. I think we can bump that number up a little bit. They could be an 11, 12-win team. This defense is playing at a high level. JSN is balling out. Like I talked about, A.J. Barner has really stepped up in that tight end role, and Darnold's playing some great football. He's proven that it was no one-hit wonder. It was no fluke. Last year transitioned to this year. He is just I wouldn't say great, but he is an above-average winning quarterback right now. He's playing at a great level, and this team really believes in him, and he believes in this team, and it goes a long way. Coaching staff is phenomenal. They're putting their players in key positions to win, and that's something that I talk about consistently. You want your team to be in those positions. Number 3, I've got the Lions. Yes, the Lions lost to the Chiefs, but up until them, they were bullying teams left and right. They have a stellar quarterback who is playing some damn good football. They have a really good receiving core. They have the best running back duo in football, and this defense has a great pass rusher and learning some discipline in the back end, and once they get more healthy back there, I think this will be a phenomenal team moving forward. This is a team that in a couple weeks, they may lose their next game to the Bucs, but in a couple weeks, really get rolling. They may not be able to win the division if they lose some close games, such as to the Bucs next week, but long term, this is a team that could be really threatening come playoff time. And the team that beat them, number 2, the Chiefs. It took everything in me not to put them at 1, and it took even more in me not to put them at 10. But they are, no matter how much I want to criticize them, no matter how much people want to praise them, they should get everything coming to them because this team's been bad and this team's been great. But it's clicking at the right time, at the right moment. The offense just looked calculated against the Lions. And that's something we haven't seen. I don't even think we saw really all last season. This offense looks like it's finally clicking. I feel like Reed and Mahomes and the offense they've gotten on the same page. Everyone's looking really good again. Everyone's looking like they're on the same page. I think it's so important for them for that. I know I've said it twice, them being on the same page, but that is important in this offense. I think that's what was missing. I still think Kelsey's not who he used to be, but he is going to get you 4 catches a game, close to 40 to 60 yards. He's going to be an impact on the game. He may not be that impact player. He may not be the game changer, but he's going to leave his mark. And that is something, if you can consistently believe in that, that is great for this offense. The run game is still a little suspect. I think Pacheco had one of his better performances recently, but Smith, the backup to Hunt and them, the This guy they drafted in the later round, he looks like he might be the better option long term, but we'll see how things go out. Hunt's doing okay, but this running back by committee, I don't know how far it can take them, but it definitely is. If that's not working with how well the pass game is getting going, this team can really take it far. And the defense is playing well, and I've been talking about it all year, and I keep saying, so far I've said it's the schemes, and I still think it's the schemes. I still think it's excellent coaching by Spags, but Trent McDuffie, Nick Bolton, Chanel, Chris Jones, I will give they have names. I have been disrespectful, I think, to the Chiefs, saying that they don't have really that many names, but they have those. They have those guys. Chanel was all over the field on Sunday night. He was everywhere. Bolton has constantly been a playmaker since he's entered this league, and I think he deserves more respect. Chris Jones is got a lot of heat and a lot of attention for how the Jags game ended, but he came up big in this game as a disruptor throughout the whole game. And Trent McDuffie has made some stellar plays throughout the season. They have names. Now they don't have a lot of names, and it's not always the prettiest, but they're clicking now. They're getting hot. The Chiefs deserve the respect that they are. They are the kings of the AFC until someone else dethrones them, and playoff time that's their ball. That's when they're cooking. They're worried about that. They were just barely trotting through the season last year, winning all those close games, and this season they're having a little more pitfalls, but overall, this is a team that is built on excellence and with expectation. And now that they're getting hot, I've said this and I'll keep saying it, Broncos, Chargers, you need to get it together because it's a team that could just end up winning the division again, and it all is going through Arrowhead again. But respect where respect is due. Number one team in the NFL, because if you're not putting them there, you're just being disrespectful. You're just not watching the games. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are the best team in football. They have the best quarterback right now playing in football. I'm not saying he's the greatest of them all, but I'm saying right now, with how Baker is playing, he's the best quarterback in football. He is the MVP. He's playing at a high elite franchise quarterback level, something that a lot of people debated he could do after leaving the Browns, even when he was with the Browns. He's been solid. His completion percentage is above 70%. He's got one pick, I think, on the season, over 10 touchdowns. He's using his legs for the scramble. That third and long, that was crazy. That was a phenomenal performance by him. Each game after game, you're watching his receivers. You saw Godwin before the season and McMillan before the season. You watched Mike Evans a couple weeks in. Ibuka didn't play the second half, and you got him just slinging the ball all over the place to anyone who's open. Bucky's not playing right now, but he's making it happen. And this is a team built on next man up. Their starting receivers are out, next man up. They're all performing. All the receivers are getting open, getting the things going, even if it's not perfect. Next man up. You got White slides right into that number one role, and he's proven he can still take on the load, and then Sean Tucker right behind performing very well. And this defense can keep making plays. Levante David, who I would have considered older and washed coming into the season, or not washed, but I would say he definitely was losing a step, has proven he's still one of the best linebackers in the league. Vita Vea is still one of the best D linemen in the league. Antoine Winfield, great in the backfield. And they got Dean back, who's playing at a very high level. This is a team that is just top to bottom is a really good team. They're coached well. They're led well. They're performing well. They deserve the number one ranking. And I'm saying it here, and I'll keep saying it for the rest of the season until something may change my mind, but I don't think it will. Baker Mayfield for MVP. So those were my top 10 teams. We got Thursday Night Football coming up. I think the matchup, if I'm not mistaken, the Rams are playing. It's the Rams and the, give me a second. Thursday Night Football. Oh, no. Thursday Night Football is going to be the Steelers and the Bengals. So Thursday Night Football is going to be the Steelers and the Bengals. This should be an interesting matchup. Joe Flacco getting another chance to take on some more teams in the North. Steelers really looking to keep it rolling. Two of the oldest quarterbacks in the league matching up. It should be pretty interesting. I don't really have much thoughts on this. I think this game is more about what the Steelers, if they can keep getting it rolling, and if the Bengals, if they have any juice or any hope for the rest of the season. So I don't really have much to say. I'm going to drop my picks probably later this week, probably Thursday morning either before this drops or after this drops. So I hope everyone enjoyed the video and have a great rest of your day. Thank you. That's a W.